There are 3 things a gay always needs.
Craziest thing happened to me today.
We gotta know the tea. We gotta keep the tea. We gotta be the best friend.
Guess who I saw on the dating app the other day?
I'm so glad that phones cannot talk, because if my phone could talk, the secrets that it would tell.
Wow. I really was blessed with good looks. Like, look at me.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to season 2 of Good Day Gay. I'm Russell Ray, along with my co-host Paulie B. What's up, Paulie B? How you doing? Well, happy 2025.
Happy 2025.
Lord. How has your 2025 been starting? Let's talk about it.
If we're being real, be
real.
Instagram reels. I don't know why I said that, but if we're it's the first season nerves. Like, you know, if you go back to season 1, episode 1, I was nervous, and for some reason I'm nervous today. I don't know why, but it'll go. Episode 2, it's gone.
You should be hella nervous, because we already have 4 people in the chat, and I'm trying to we have 4 people on live on Instagram. So we're live on Instagram, we're live on my Instagram, we're live on your Instagram.
Yes.
So I'm asking them to, I'm pretty sure I just had a typo. I put everyone instead of everyone, whatever.
Everyone.
Yeah, if you have questions for us, let us know. We are talking today about being hot, single, and stuck, dating in your 30s, and why it feels harder. I unfortunately don't have that problem.
Lucky you. You.
Paul, today's episode is focused on you.
Okay, so I guess, yeah, you just asked me my 2025. Obviously, you and I, like, after the podcast, we still spoke heaps, we still caught up, and as you know, like, I literally called you that one week and I was spiraling. I was like, Russell, why am I single? Why do I feel this way? Why do people want to go on a date with me? I was spiraling. But you know what? 2025 started in a spiral, but February, it's the February 2nd today. I'm coming out of that spiral. January's for spiraling. February's for unraveling. Is unraveling the same as spiraling, or is?
Well, I think January 1st or January 31st was just a trial run.
That was a trial run. Yeah. So the spiral didn't even count.
I was sick most of the month. The spiral didn't count. So technically, that was just purging everything from 2024. So yeah. Now that we're officially in 2025, you know what? Let me just start with this. If I was single right now as a 32-year-old,
yeah,
I don't know where I would start, because I feel like everything is so superficial in today's time. And it's like, oh, if you're not perfect, oh, if you're not making 7 figures. What do you mean if I'm not making 7 figures? Do you know what economy this is around the world?
Who makes 7 figures? I was going to say, who makes 7 figures, honestly?
I mean, if we had OnlyFans, we'd make 7 figures, but I have nieces and nephews, and that's frowned upon in my neighborhood, okay? And I'm Mexican, which is worse. They will annihilate me if I was to ever consider that. But how are you feeling? How are you feeling now after our conversation? Where are you at now?
After our conversation the other week, I think it's good. Like, I think we're going to go into this later about, like, how to have hope for dating in your 30s and all of that. But it isn't just about dating. Like, I have been, I've got goals this year that I want to achieve in 2025, as we spoke about on the last episode of season 1. And, you know, I'm really working hard to achieve those goals, but I've been getting a bit of a kickback from those goals. And so that's been a bit of a difficulty as well. Like, not just, you know, wanting to meet someone and wanting to go on a date, but also, like, trying to achieve my goals, but feeling the kickback. It's just like, So I feel like after talking to you, you know, I've got some really good friends. I've got a really good support system. Shout out to one of my besties, Bruno. He, like, really pulled me out of, like, you know, when I was really spiraling one day, I was, like, on my phone, like just, like, going off. But I feel good. I definitely feel hopeful. I'm back on the dating app. So
I was just gonna ask you what apps you're on. What dating apps you're on? Spill them. No gatekeeping here. I want to know all the apps.
Fine. You went right into it. You went right into it. I am on Sniffies. I'm on Sniffies as a blank profile. I'm on I'm on Sniffies as a blank profile. I'm on Grindr as a blank profile. I am on Tinder with a full face, Instagram handle linked, really good photos, really cute photos. And I am on Hinge as well. On Hinge, I've got a little voice message, which I need to change because I uploaded that voice message like years ago when I had a cold. So it's literally like,
oh, so you had that Dom Top voice going on.
Literally. And I think the question was like, oh, what is your favorite drink or something? And I was like, forget the drinks. We're getting a shot of tequila. But it's like in my raspy voice, I'm like, forget the drinks. We're getting a shot of tequila. Like, I don't know.
You were like, hey, baby, we getting shots of tequila up in here. Call me.
Sorry. Call me. So
you sound like a 90s R&B song, I bet.
Oh, sexy. 90s R&B, sexy. But those are the apps I'm on.
Okay. I discovered that Grindr, by the way, which we'll get into in the next episode, but I just wanted to hit the nail on the head with this. Grindr is different in Australia than it is in the States.
How?
You guys have like 3 little water drops in the bottom right-hand corner of your app.
Yes, that's called the Right Now. It's called Right Now.
Yes, so we don't have that here.
All right, so on Grindr in Australia,
Humpy doesn't have that on his.
Well, we're all finding it out now. So you know how on Grindr you can set the option for what you're looking for, and Right Now or like hookups is one of the option. So yes. I guess, like you're saying, maybe the Australian Grindr's done this where it has an option where you click Right Now, and on the free version of Grindr, you get like it turns on for an hour, and it basically indicates to people that you're looking for right now. And you can change the status to be like, I'm hosting, I'm looking for this. Like you can literally write a message to say like, looking for a couple right now, hosting. Like it's basically, maybe it's like bringing Sniffies into Grindr somehow. Like
that's
a way
what I was getting from that.
Yeah.
So I have the ultimate question to ask you with all of this being said, now that you're on the apps.
Yeah.
Why are you hot, single, and stuck, do you think? Because I think you're, first of all, let me just start with this. I think you're smoking hot. Like you got body, you got personality, you got face, like okay, muscles. You got muscles. you have it going on. So what do you feel like is the problem? Do you think it's a you problem? Do you think it's a them problem?
It's probably this cough that I've held for like all of season 1 and it's back in season 2. Okay, for real. So when I was preparing for this episode, I kind of thought to myself, okay, you almost think like by your 30s, you're genuinely ready to like date. You're genuinely ready to meet someone. So I guess like coming into your question where you've said, you know, like, is it a you problem? Is it a me problem? I think at the end of the day, like you always have to look at yourself and figure out, okay, who am I? What can I offer in terms of issues? Like, okay, what, like if it was to be a me problem, like why is it a me problem, and how do I handle those problems, and how do I navigate those problems with another person? It's like before you can go into a relationship with someone, you really have to know yourself. You really have to be aware of yourself. You really have to be like what can you give someone, because that in the end of the day is what you're doing, right? Like you're giving yourself to someone, like you're giving your personality to someone, you're sharing your life and your hobbies and all of that with someone. So
yes,
I feel like, yes, I have body. Yes, I have face. Yes, I have hair. Yes, I have, you know, all of the stuff. I've got a personality. Although I have all of that stuff, I think one of the biggest difficulties that I've found of dating in my 30s is I feel like I'm ready to date, but I'm meeting people that they might say they're ready to date, or they might present like they're ready to date, but I don't think that they are, because you can tell that they've got like some insecurities that they're maybe working through, or they don't exactly know how to handle a tough conversation, or a conversation that's, you know, emotionally fueled, or they don't exactly know how to take on whether that's feedback or criticism, like, hey, you made me feel this way. Like some people might not know how to navigate those conversations. So I feel like genuinely it's not a me problem because I know who I am and I know what I can give. So I feel like it comes down to a case of two things where they're either not ready to date or like we're literally into separate like stages of life where like right now, you know, I was seeing someone before Christmas, but it didn't work out because I've got a goal to leave Adelaide this year, and that person doesn't. That person wants to stay in Adelaide. So, you know, why would you get into something if it could just end? Do you know what I mean? Like, yeah.
So,
yeah.
I also want to touch on when I asked you if it was a you problem. I don't necessarily think it being bless you. I don't think it being a you problem is necessarily a bad thing. Let me just clarify with this.
No.
I feel like as we get older from our 20s into our 30s, when it becomes a you problem, it sometimes is because you actually have standards that you didn't have back when you were in your 30s. And so you're looking at someone and in an aspect of, wow, you're fairly immature. You're acting like a 15, 16-year-old. We're in our 30s now, and I don't have time for this. You're too emotional. You don't know how to separate your baggage. You don't know how to separate your past relationships, and you don't know how to converse about your past relationships now in this time and area to tell me how you've gotten to this point of who you are.
Maybe
so when I ask if it's a you problem, I'm just curious to know have your standards changed.
And that's maybe a case like, sorry, where I was going to say maybe it's not the case of using the word problem. Like, is it a you thing or is it a them thing? Because the you thing could literally be your boundaries. Like, hey, these are my boundaries. I'm putting it out there. And like that, I feel like that's what I do as well from the get-go. I straight away put out my boundaries and say, hey, I'm looking for dates. Like, this is what I'm after. And although some people might say yes to that, after we go out on a date, they then say to me, look, I really like your energy. Like, I get this all the time. Like, I really like your energy and I would love to keep you in my life. But I'm thinking, would it be okay if we're just friends? Like, I think you're attractive. I think you're a really good guy, but I just want to be friends. And I don't know, for me, I feel like it's a little bit selfish because it's like, you just want to keep me in your life as a friend. But where I'm at is I'm kind of looking for someone to date rather than a friendship, which all about friends, but I've got a lot of friends. So I don't know.
Well, I think it's about time that we get some perspective. So speaking of friends, we actually have a special guest for the gay millennials that follow us on the pod. And we're going to introduce Let Them Eat Jake. Jake, welcome to the podcast. I love your Instagram handle.
Thank you so much.
So, question with that really quick. Does that indicate your position?
No, not necessarily.
Okay.
It's purely from the famous Marie Antoinette quote, "Let them cake, Jake friends with cake. Maybe I have a bit of cake." Check the handle, you'll see for yourself.
Jake is caked up.
Yeah, go.
No, Jake,
look, we're
Jake
on
is
Instagram
caked
Live.
up.
So go ahead and click right into let them dot eat Jake and see if Jake will be eating you or if it will be vice versa.
I've just realized, Russ, that maybe
we're highly inappropriate.
Well, that as well. But we want to call so the guests that come onto our podcast, we want to call them our mates. So Jake, you're our first mate of the podcast. You're our little guinea pig. But perfect. I'm realizing now, like, are our mates all going to be caked up? Because we're caked up. Jake's caked up.
Absolutely. We are absolutely caked up. And our next guest is caked up. Only one way to find out. We're going to take pictures side by side with all of our guests, but no face, all in reverse.
I actually like that idea. I think that's a good idea for like marketing. That's a good idea.
Okay, let's get right into it.
Yeah.
Jake, you are single.
Yes.
Clearly very handsome, studly, as we can all see in the chat, and hot, caked up.
Oh, is that the criteria?
That is apparently, in order to be single, you got to be hot, single, and caked up, because I guess the uglier ones are the ones that are locked down. So,
what are we doing?
I guess I'm ugly. No, I'm just kidding.
And not caked up.
You got questions? Let's ask Jake some questions. Let's give these viewers. This is gonna be a blast. I'm excited about this.
All right, so Jake, I know. So a big reason why I asked you to be on the podcast was because you and I had a conversation after the gym once, and like we're both in our 30s, and we're both here in Adelaide, which is a small town, and it's difficult to date, which you and I have spoken about. So the first question I've got to you, you know, we are in our 30s, we are 30 and thriving, but we were once 20. So what's the big
early
30s? We are early 30s, okay? For clarification for everyone out there, the three of us are in our early 30s.
Yes.
Okay, so what is the biggest difference between dating in your 20s and dating in your 30s? Hello, Jake.
I honestly just experience that, you know, I think when you're in your 20s, you know, not to like offend anyone that might be in their 20s, you know, today, but I think you lack experience, or you definitely lack experience to what you would then gain in your 30s, and you're probably more naive in your 20s than you are your 30s. So I think you're more likely to be more frivolous, you know, not have any, you know, hoops for people to jump into. You know, your standards might be not like a little bit lower than what they are now. I think when you're in your 20s, you're kind of just looking for like, you know, a boyfriend or someone to have like fun with. And then, you know, when you're in your 30s, you're trying to find someone that's going to match your lifestyle.
I think so. Like before we jumped on the podcast, I did a bit of research because I was thinking about, and I've heard it before, you know, Ariana Grande, she's got one of the interludes on her new album is called Saturn's Return. So I Googled Saturn's Return. So basically Saturn's Return, from what I understand, and astrology people don't come for me because I'm not as educated as I thought I was. But Saturn's Return is basically when you really like grow up. Do you know what I mean? And so you really come out of that childhood and you grow up. And so I Googled Saturn's Return, and it's usually around 29 years old. So maybe to the two of you, like I'm thinking to myself, I reckon I really grew up, or I really changed my mindset around like 28 years old. Like, do you guys feel like Saturn's Return is a thing? Like you really grew up from your 20s at a certain point in your late 20s?
Go ahead, Jake. Talk about it.
Yeah.
What was your
I think I'm more experiencing that now. Career change, number one. You know, having to let something go that I had dedicated a lot of my life to and make a switch because it just wasn't serving me the same way that it was before. So that was, you know, like a huge moment of my life, like, you know, deciding to go back to school and study, deciding to change my career, then pursuing that career. Thankfully, you know, then entering that chosen industry and being, you know, I guess like having early success within it. I still feel quite new to it. But so I think I'm experiencing that now. Like when I was still in my 20s at that 28, 29, like I could tell like I was growing up, but I've gone from, you know, being like what felt like, you know, 21 to 26, and now I'm 34. Like there was no in between. I've just jumped to those ages.
That in between comes so fast. Let me tell you.
It does. Yeah, it totally does.
A couple months ago was like, oh, I don't look bad for 43. And I was like, oh my God, 43. That's gay death. Take us out.
43?
Like, I was like, oh God, Lord,
Damn.
I can't even imagine myself at 43.
But really, this statement does not look bad.
Please.
Are you so? Jake, are you a long-term relationship type of person, or have you had a significant experience of a long-term relationship that you thought, you know, this is actually what I'm looking for, or this is actually nice, but there's things that are missing in this relationship?
Well, yes and no. So for myself, I was in a relationship from the time I was 19 till about 26.
Oh wow.
Two separate people within that within that period. So from 19 to 24, I was with someone in quite a steady relationship for 5 years. And then we broke up and I met someone else almost instantly. And we were then together for the next 2 years. And then when we broke up, that's when I just like went crazy at like
the spiral.
Yeah. Just like being single for the first time, which I think was, you know, perhaps a thing that maybe like people I don't want to say trapped, but like get themselves involved in that, you know, I think like being gay, we're still subjected to heterosexual norms. That idea of, you know, finding someone quite young, potentially getting married, you know, within that time period. Same-sex marriage was only legalized in
Australia.
No, after that time, same-sex marriage was legalized in Australia. But like that idea of, you know, finding a significant other, having a partner, building some kind of like life together, I think is still thrust upon us. And I think, you know, a lot of people get themselves involved in those kinds of situations where they meet someone quite young, they're together for, you know, maybe until their mid-20s, and then suddenly they're like, okay, wait, this isn't what I want. And that's what happened to me. I was very young. Like my first relationship, I was very young. He was quite significantly older than myself. I felt it was a beautiful relationship. He was a beautiful man. I felt very safe in the relationship, but I got to a point where I was just like, I want something else. I want something different. I want to be able to, like, you know, go to a bar and kiss a stranger. Like, I don't want to always have to let someone know where I am or consider someone else's feelings and things, which I think is important for people to have, which I never did. So turning 26, suddenly being single for the first time, I was like, all right, let's go. Like apps, on all the apps, like, you know, just trying to just essentially being with anything that moved. That's like, now I've had like relationships, yeah, like sort of in between that, like little flings here or there. But now I think now I'm definitely at a point where I'm like, yeah, I would really like a boyfriend. I would really like to, you know, be with someone that I could, you know, call my own, whatever our relationship looks like, but, you know, have some kind of romantic partner that I can rely on and spend time with.
Yeah.
Have you found anyone that you liked in recent times and then just been ghosted? And have they zombied you, as Paul and I have discovered we are?
Wait, we need to have the definition of a zombie first. So Russ, tell us, we all know what a ghost is. Tell us what a zombie is.
So a zombie is when someone ghosts you, but then they rise back from the dead like nothing happened and just try to pick back up with you from where they last left off. So apparently Paul and I tend to do this. I always thought, well, then again, I always thought it was a ghost as well. I'm like, you know, but like, I don't ghost people because like, for no reason. I'm just like, you either irritate me or you're highly inappropriate and you just say adolescent things. And I don't no time or patience to explain the type of person you are to you because you're not going to listen anyway. So I just rather just not talk to you.
See, that's
and
funny.
then there's that one where I just came back a couple times and I'm like, hey, how's it going?
See, I feel like I'm a ghost in the respect where at that point in time, I'm like, I am interested in you, but I've got other things going on. So I then choose that person. But then I all of a sudden, when I am available and like all of a sudden see that person again, I then think, you know what? I'm a zombie him now because I'm ready. I'm ready to see him now. That's how I become a ghost and then a zombie, where I choose to be a ghost and then I see them again and try to give it another go by being a zombie.
Comes up like a zombie.
Like familiar territory. You're like, I've been there before. I can go there again.
Exactly. Yeah. But yeah, tell us, Jake.
Look, I think when people ghost me, they just need to actually make sure they're dead. I've never had anyone really come back as like a zombie. One thing that I remember kind of distinctly, because it left me like quite gobsmacked, is I met a guy. I have a background in dance, and I was performing one night at a club, and I had a guy approach me after my performance and like was very infatuated with me, which was very like, you know, flattering and stuff. And, you know, we spent time together that night, like made out, had like a really wonderful experience, kept in contact. We went on a date, went out for dinner, really lovely, really nice guy. I was really interested in him. Like he ticked boxes for me. Like he was handsome. He had a job. The bar
that is a requirement. That is a requirement.
Green flag.
We had
Green flag.
We had a lot of interest, which was great. And then we were planning a second date, and literally we had like a time locked in. And the day came, and I messaged him because something had changed, and I was like, "Oh, I can actually meet you earlier. Would that work for you?" And he just never got back to me. I was like, what happened?
Look, I'm petty, so I would have responded back to that message. Like, if I would have sent that message, be like, "Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. I was texting somebody else. I didn't mean to send this to you."
You could have gotten away with that.
But see, that's where I go back to what I was talking about before. How guys might present themselves as, "I'm ready to get into a relationship," or "I'm ready to start dating someone," but you can't even navigate a simple conversation of like, "Hey, whatever his situation was, like, hey, I'm actually not ready to date right now," or like, "Hey, I'm quite busy this week. Do you mind if we catch up another time?" Like,
totally. Like, I'm very simple, and you know, I've learned not to like question things. So if you're just like it could have been anything. Like, it could have just been like, "Hey, sorry, I'm no longer available tonight." To which I would have been like, okay. But him not, like, us quite literally having plans, and then me, I guess, trying to confirm those plans or seeing if we could meet a little earlier, like resulted in him actually completely ghosting me. Like, it actually sent panic through me because I actually worried for his well-being in that moment in time. Because I know we had long, but it was somewhat, it was out of character. So I was like, "Oh no, like, is he okay?" Like, we had recently spoken about a family member of his that was actually in hospital. And so I was like, "Oh no, like maybe something's wrong with his family." But yeah, nothing. I see him around from time to time, and I wonder if
also you have seen him.
I'm hotter now, so he's lost.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just here in Adelaide, and like no talking. So it's like, you know, like I went to oh my gosh, not long ago, I walked into a cafe, and he was there working, and I was just like, "Oh, fucking hell. Hi, can I have my oat latte, please?" Why do I feel embarrassed?
No, I feel like that is so sweet of you to even consider, like, "Oh my gosh, is he okay?"
Yeah.
Because I mean, that is fair. So how many interactions did you have prior to this ghosting happening? Like, had you been messaging for like a week? Had it been a few days?
Yeah, it had been over a week. Like, I think like there was the night that we met, lots of, you know, messaging exchanges between us, like I think daily. We did go on a date. Like, he met me after work one night and took me out for dinner, which I thought was really nice. And then it was then the planning of the second date where he just disappeared. And it was weird because I was like, well, he like it's so fair. Like, if you go on a date with someone, including myself, and you realize you're not interested or you're not compatible or whatever, you just don't want to, like, you know, deal with it. But like, why plan a second date? So it was just, you know, all of it was really confusing to me.
Yeah. I think I just want to quickly, so there's a comment in the YouTube chat that says from Christine99, and it says, "Within how many dates is ghosting acceptable in your opinion?" And like, yes, Russ, you and I have said that we've ghosted people in the past, but yes, I've ghosted people in the past, but then at the same time as well, I'm trying my best to then still be direct to people. So I guess Christine99, when is ghosting acceptable? After how many dates? In reality, it's not. Maybe you might ghost someone, but I think like at the end of the day, you don't really owe anyone an explanation for your actions, but I think it's a courtesy to then give someone an explanation of your actions, because you never know what ghosting someone is going to do to them mentally, I guess, or within the future, or within how they Russ, why are you laughing? But basically what I'm trying to say is that ghosting is really in reality like not acceptable, but it happens. But I think an explanation is important as to, hey, sorry, I was feeling this way. Sorry, I'm not actually ready. Hey, I'm sorry I ghosted you. Like, yeah.
I feel like there's a specific instance. Christine, this is going to you, girl. There's a specific instance where I feel like ghosting is 100% acceptable. And it's if you're continuously trying to move this forward and they keep dodging the meetups, the phone calls, the FaceTimes. Because in my mind, you're probably an actual, you're a catfish. So there's just no time for it. So
that's a good point.
If I reach out multiple times, if I'm reaching out 5-6 times, like, hey, what's up? I just want to, see if you still want to link up. Are you still interested in meeting up? Hey, did you still want to, like, I heard, you said you like RuPaul's Drag Race. Do you want to go watch RuPaul's Drag Race at this bar that they're hosting an event at? And you are like giving me minimal, or you're not responding at all. I will wait until you respond, and then I will send you to a green little bubble, and you won't have any more questions for me. I'll tell you that. But if you're gonna ghost someone and you made a valiant effort to interact with this individual and they have not given you an inch, let alone a mile, then I feel like just let it go. And I don't even know if I would consider that ghosting. I think that would just be considered self-respect of not being
a boundary
or clingy. And you're just, if this person's not giving you enough respect, then you just need to let them go and don't interact with them, even if they reach out again.
Yeah. It's that thing that's been, Mel Robbins has released that new, like, she's created that book called Let Them. It's that philosophy of like, hey, let them. But at the end of the day, like, you can't always just say, oh, let them do it, because you're just going to cut people out of your life. So it's kind of like, hey, I've done everything that I could to try and make this relationship, this friendship, whatever work. However, you're not reciprocating. So sure, you go on ahead. Yeah, if that makes sense.
Exactly. Jake, what are you experiencing now in the dating world? Are you actively seeking dates?
Yes and no. And that's completely on, it's all well and good for me to be like, oh, hey, I would like to, be with someone. I'd like to, like meet new people, like whatever, put myself out there. But I actually find it very difficult. A big part of that is because of work. Like, I like to put work first, and that doesn't really leave me a lot of time to meet new people. Also, if like in terms of like a social battery, sometimes I might actually want to dedicate that to people I already know and that I like, that I know I'm going to have positive experiences with, like my friends, as opposed to trying to meet someone new. And then, because it does take effort, it's hard, it's not easy, it takes thought, it takes consideration, it takes time, it takes effort, all of those things people are very like like poor of at this moment in time, I guess. But yeah, like I like trying to, in a way, taking opportunities, I guess, where they present themselves. It's, what's the date today? 2nd of February. Like it's been like a somewhat, like interesting year already when it comes to meeting people and I guess dating people or spending time with people. I don't know. I find that maybe the word even dating is terrifying to some people. So it's just like we soften the word date with, we can hang out, like we can
correct,
do something. We could, spend time together.
And I think that's what
we'll
I was thinking of.
I like to.
Oh, I think you cut out.
I was going to say, like, I would, moving forward, I'd like to make more of a conscious effort to, I think, date.
Intentional dating.
Intentional dating.
Do me this. Describe to me, what is your ideal person? what are your must-haves in that qualifications of that person minus a job? Because like clearly, y'all, if you're paying attention to the episode, you need a job. So don't be trying to eat Jake or
without a job.
Without a job, because it ain't gonna work. So what are the qualifications of someone that you feel you would make an effort towards, like, oh, my time is very limited, but I don't mind sparing a couple hours here, a couple hours there for this type of person? And are you off limits to international if someone has the access to travel to you?
They got money.
A lot of questions.
They got money. They got job and
no.
money.
Yeah, they got money. No, gosh. It's I constantly have this argument with myself all the time because, you know, that I think it is good to have standards, obviously. You know, it's good to have traits, I guess, like desirable traits that you want to see in someone. But then I'm always conflicted because I'm like, oh, don't be so judgmental. Don't be so, like, you know, picky. Maybe you should be, like, you know, giving this a go, or, you know, you never know kind of thing. And see, the thing is, it's like I'm attracted to like a very broad range of people and like a very broad range of men. I think like base level, like if we're living in a perfect world and if I could, like, you know, make a man in a laboratory, you know, one, I would, we have to have a mutual attraction for one another. And I have to feel that. And that needs to be expressed in a way that I know it's, you know, genuine and authentic. Take that for what you will. So yeah, so attracted to one another. You need to have a fucking job. You do. Like, you just need to have a job. You don't need to be rich. You don't. But like,
just a form of income.
One of the positive things about, you know, being in my 30s now, like one of the positive things about being in my 30s now is that I've worked so many years now. Like, I've built myself to a certain, like, you know, pay bracket. I can afford to do things, you know? So it's like, if I want to go, and like, again, like not excessively, and we are in a cost of living crisis, I get it. But, you know, like, I want to be able to go out for dinner. I want to be able to go and see shows. I want to be able to go and do stuff. I want to be able to go and travel, you know, like in whatever capacity that is. And I don't really want to be like limited by someone who is perhaps not in that same situation that I am. I'd like them to have something like and have like a sense of adventure, you know, in regards to doing things. And that, you know, that can be as simple as being like, let's go to the beach today, let's go check out this market. Or that can be as like, you know, wild as let's go fucking backpack for like, you know, a month in Canada or whatever.
Wow.
We share like mutual interests.
I'm conscious of the time because I know you've got a hard out in 10 minutes, Jake, but
it's okay. We'll push that.
But I do want to know, so as I told you, you know, every episode Russ and I do an oh no moment of the week. So one thing that we want our guests to do, so, you know, you've come on and you've spoken to us about your experience with being hot, single and stuck and dating in your 30s. So
emphasis on the hot.
Hot.
Hot. With a job.
Yeah. Hot is
with permanent. A job.
Hot is permanent. Single is temporary. Stuck is what you want it to be.
And that is our episode for the day, everybody. Have a good day.
It's always me. I'm sorry. It's always me that takes it there. I'm sorry. So Jake, what is an oh no moment for you of dating in your 30s?
Oh no.
Oh no. I recently went on a date with a guy that I was really looking forward to. We had spoken for quite some time, and we had like a really good back and forth. Like the banter was good. It was a bit, silly, but I like that. Like I like to be silly. I like to make jokes. I like to, not be serious and stuff. So, things were going good. He invited me over to his house, and he asked me, we're going to do like a dinner and like a little games night kind of thing, which I thought was really cute. And he asked me, like, what kind of food do you eat? And I said, it's easier for me to tell you what I don't eat. And so I said to him, I was like, I don't eat lamb, I don't eat pork, I don't eat seafood, and I don't eat peas. And he was like, okay. And then like the conversation continued. We sort of had like a little bit few jokes, like, about that. And like, I guess like my eating habits and whatnot. Anyway, cut to, I go to his house, walk upstairs. He's done like kind of like a spread of all like different foods. He's
cute.
made served lamb. And I sat there because then I couldn't remember. I couldn't then remember if I had told him I didn't eat lamb or if we had this conversation. So I'm like sitting there going, did I tell him? Oh, him. Am I being gaslit right now? Did I tell him I don't eat lamb and he's serving me lamb? Is he a sociopath?
Okay, so what was it? What is it? What happened? Did you tell him or did you not?
And then like I went through like my conversation and realized I had told him, and I was like, that son of a bitch, like he served me lamb and I told him I don't eat this. And I was like, okay, a couple of things might be happening here. I was like, either he's completely forgotten we've had a conversation or he's choosing to ignore it. And I don't think either of those things are good things, especially because it's in writing.
He's really like, Daddy, I can change him. I can change him.
I would have been like,
yeah.
Did you have somebody else over here before me and then just recycle the food?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah,
I made this, so let me just give it to him instead.
And I was like, I can't remember if we've had this conversation, and I don't want to be rude. I guess I'm eating this.
Oh no.
You did it.
No.
You went through with it. Kudos to you.
It's almost like Fear Factor, where you just had to eat things that you're not into. Oh,
Yeah.
I'm sorry that happened.
First world problems is not the biggest thing in the world, but I just thought it was so weird, especially when I went back to our messages. I was like, what the fuck?
Just right in front of him, like, give me just a second. I just want to see something really quick. Oh, okay. All right. So I did say this.
Okay, so we're not listening. We're not paying attention. Oh gosh.
Listening. We're not being supportive in my dislikes. Anyway, what about you guys? Any wild dating stories recently? We've spoken a lot about me. I feel like I've spoken too much about myself.
No, you're our guest. That you were the goal. You were the goal, and
okay, that's the point.
Yeah. So we're good. Paul and I talk about our nonsense once
all the time.
Once we continue on later. But I'm so sorry that happened to you. For 2025, so just in case we need to do notes really quick. So before we let you go, for those of you all who are listening, Jake is interested in someone who would be willing to go backpacking, someone who has the financial security, I would say financially responsible with their income, someone who's just not doing their money but has something to do something with it. Like, do you want to go to the movie? Let's go to dinner. Let's go on an adventure. Let's go explore. So those are some of the qualifications. You got to be in sync with him. So if your souls ain't matching up, just say goodbye and say thank you very much for your time. Because it ain't gonna work. What else? Don't make him lamb. Don't make him peas.
Lamb. Don't make me peas.
Don't make him lamb and peas. Okay. Let him lie in peace instead. And pay attention to when someone that you were trying to take on a date is pay attention to what they're telling you, so that Jake doesn't have to repeat himself and feel awkward in your house already after you've already cooked something that he told you he ain't gonna eat.
Oh gosh.
And with that being said, thank you for coming on today. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for being our guinea pig.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
We hope you had fun.
You're so welcome. I'm often the guinea pig.
Well, you're a hot employed guinea pig who's good with their finances. So, all right. Well, not to be rude, but we're gay, so we gotta go. Bye.
Okay, bye.
Oh, what a great guy.
That was fun. Yeah, I love Jake. He's
amazing.
Yeah, and so Jake and I, obviously Adelaide is small, you know, all the gays know each other. So Jake and I started going to the same gym. And you know, we're friends, so we always talk every time we see each other. And you know, he's moved into the film industry and he's moved into the movie industry, and I like applaud him for that, because he really did, you know, like leave his job to move into that industry. So I applaud him for that. And I always love having a chat with him. Like he's just a funny guy, and he's genuinely a really nice guy as well. So that was fun.
Great. He is very likable. He's very personable, and I think he's a genuine individual who isn't. It doesn't seem like he would be out to hurt somebody.
Yeah,
not saying that anybody is, but I feel like there's no. My family says it a lot in Spanish. Let me try to think of this in
English.
Say it in
Spanish. Say it in Spanish and see if I can translate it.
I'll just say it in English. There's no ill intent behind the person. And so all the actions, no matter what they may be, will be pure regardless.
Yes, correct. I think so. And that's the thing. Like, some people might have actions that they don't actually know where it comes from, which, again, I personally believe that if you fully know who you are and fully know what you can give, then yes, your actions are going to be genuine and your actions are going to be free of ill intention.
Yeah.
He was our first guinea pig. He was our first guinea pig mate.
Our guinea mate.
Our guinea mate. So the next one, what's the next one going to be called? Just a mate, really. Mate of the pod. Mate of the pod.
We'll call that our next one. Never mind. I'm not going to say it. That's rude. Oh, Lord. Okay, Paul, let's get into it. What is your oh no moment of the week? Then we'll get into mine.
I think before we do that, though, like, I feel like, you know, well, you are in a relationship, so you aren't spiraling. Yes. But, you know, Jake and I have had our spiral moments of 2025. So I feel like we need to give the listeners, the viewers, we need to give them some hope. Let's give them some hope first before we move into the oh no moment of the week.
Oh, okay. I feel like.
So, like, what's advice on being hopeful?
I think there's a few things that people need to do in today's times, right? So, especially, well, mind you, this is Western United States opinion, so our opinions will differ a little bit, because I feel like down in Australia, you guys might not necessarily have some of the obstacles that we have here, because it's so superficial here. When I feel like Australians, as I've come into contact with a lot of Australians, they're always just genuinely good people. And I feel like when I come into contact with some Americans, I'm looking at them and instantly know that they're not a good person. So I don't give them any time or effort, even in friendships.
Yeah.
So if you're single in your 30s, I think there's a couple things that you need to do, right? Find your happy space and place. So for us, that's the gym, right? For Paul and I. Our happy space is the gym. My second happy space is in the kitchen, actually. I really enjoy cooking and creating. Yeah. And luckily, Shane likes cleaning up and detailing, so it balances.
Nice. And eating.
And just okay, look, I love a good meal. And just lean into those things. And eventually, don't short sell yourself. Also, don't put bad aura on yourself. So if you're constantly putting out in the world like everyone is trash, because I've heard this from so many of my single female friends. Men are trash, men are trash, men are trash. And then they continuously find men that are trash look what you're attracting into your life because you're speaking this out.
Exactly.
There's some really good men out there. One day I'm gonna find one. So speak those things into your aura, but also hone in and focus on yourself, because again, standards are okay. Having similarities and similar interests is also okay. That's okay to like someone and enjoy someone's company and realize that their interests are not the same as yours. If you're the type that wants to go dance on the dance floor with someone and pull your partner in the middle of the dance floor, and the person that you're interacting with and meet is someone who will not dance and wants to be stuck on the wall, that's not going to work out in the long run, because that's going to be an element of yourself that you have to sacrifice. And you have to ask yourself, are you willing to sacrifice those things about yourself in order to have a relationship? Is the relationship the goal, or is happiness and longevity your goal? That's also another question that you need to ask yourself. And I think be with someone who also isn't going to limit you. I see this a lot when people are limited by their significant other. And so you want someone who's going to propel you and eject you into your passions and desires, not someone who's going to retract. And that's coming from personal experience. I went through that from 24 to 28 in my relationship, down to the point of being asked, when are you going to give up on this television dream? I tell you, no sooner did I leave that relationship, I landed my TV show in 6 months. So sometimes knowing that someone is actually blocking the good that's willing to come into your life. Oh, Lord. Ooh. Someone is blocking the good that's coming to your life, and you got to let them go. And that's okay. Don't bring someone into your life who's also going to block those good things.
Yeah, totally. And you and I really are friends, because I 100% agree with everything that you've said. And it really is the case, I think if you're single and stuck, you have to do what you said, which is manifest and attract. So really believe that you're going to meet someone, whether that's your person forever, whether that's your person for a few months or whatever, really believing that, there is someone out there that you do deserve love and that you do deserve to have it and to meet someone. But I think before that, you really, I feel like it's just going to be the thing that I'm saying this episode, which is you have to know yourself. And so, like you said, the places of happiness, another place of happiness for me is dancing. And so when I feel like I've lost myself to dating, or when I feel like I've really don't know who I am anymore, then I always go back to what makes me feel like who I am and confirms who I am, which is, going to the gym and staying healthy, going to a dance class, surrounding myself with love and my friends, because my friends really are a reflection of who I am. And so when I surround myself with those people, and when I surround myself with love, then it's you know what, I am a fucking good person. And yeah. So I think that's what it is. You do it.
And that's okay. I feel like sometimes as we get older, right, even though we're young in our 30s, I feel like even though when we get older, we're longing so hard for that relationship that we've been wanting, because we see other people have it. And
that's it.
That's okay. It's okay to look back and be like, dang, that's nice for them. But also think to yourself, wow, that's nice for them. They found someone. But also don't look on Instagram, because that is smoke and mirrors. And I can tell you how many terrible relationships that are posting about how great their person is. And let me tell you, baby, they are cheating, creeping. They're not even together. It's if they got followers, they're trying to keep their followers and trying to figure out how they're going to break it off without losing it, or who's going to split the Instagram. It's a whole thing. So don't necessarily think that everyone is living this amazing life. There are definitely some. I know a few of myself who have a wonderful relationship. And then there's some other. There's some others that when they invite you out, you're like, no, I don't want to go. That's okay. I'm gonna stay my self right here at home and watch. I'm gonna make food, and me and Shane are gonna watch television because we ain't. It's not gonna be fun, you know.
Oh,
and again,
yeah.
Also in your 30s, you should know if you can handle your liquor. You should know if you can. You should know if you can handle all of these things. You should be able to handle all of these things.
That's it.
Don't put yourself on others to take care of you. You are grown. People want someone who is able to hold their own and take care of themselves.
Yeah.
I digress.
And with that, oh no. So I think that's a good segue into my oh no moment. It's probably not an oh no moment of the week, or is it the week? It is the week. No, it is the week. Okay, so I obviously I was going on I was dating someone, seeing someone for like a few months. That ended just before Christmas. And then I sort of thought to myself, you know what, I'm a little bit burnt out from dating, so I'm just going to take a bit of a break from the dating apps. So for most of January, I was on a break from the dating apps. I really was just focusing on myself and trying to, surround myself with love and my family and my friends. So this week I did go back onto the dating apps, and let me tell you, oh no. Like literally every time it's not bad. It's just like, again, like I remain hopeful and I know that I'm going to meet someone, but sometimes when I open those apps and the people that, this is really shallow of me, I'm so sorry. And the people that I have that are an option, like, oh no, really? Like, oh no. But yeah, it's just hilarious, like going on the apps again. And, I am getting matches, but my matches seem to all be in other states or other countries. And, now I have a pen pal in Peru that I message every morning and every night. And it's like, buenos dias, baby.
Oh, come on, get your Spanish up. Yes.
Come on, pen pal.
So that's a benefit. That's a benefit.
Yeah, exactly. I get to practice my Spanish and, help Peruvian daddy.
Absolutely. My oh no moment of the week. My oh no moment of the week is, look, I started off the year being sick with like the flu, or I don't even think it was a flu. It was like it was a cold, and then it turned into like chest congestion, and then it turned into bronchitis, and then now my allergies are gonna take me out. And I sneezed yesterday so hard that I threw my forehead into the wall at work, and I was like, oh no, is there a mark? And they were like laughing at me. They're like, no, there's no mark. But if anybody knows me, my sneezes are so aggressive. Like it is a whole body.
Same.
It's like, and it's not even me being dramatic. It's just so powerful. And so when I went to sneeze, I was like looking around because, my coworkers were there. There was like people that we were dealing with there. And so I was trying to just find a corner sneeze because I could not run to the bathroom in time. And so I turned, I was like, oh, and just my head right into the wall. And I had like a red mark for like a good 30-45 minutes. And I was so embarrassed. And they were like, so are you okay? And I'm like, yes, I'm fine. Like, I'm just embarrassed. And I need to go take a Benadryl because I have no allergy medicine.
You and I really are the same person, because when I sneeze, I literally do a high kick. I'm literally like, and like literally kick my leg up every time I sneeze. I'm just like, Achoo! And so if you're in my line of vision, you're gonna get kicked when I sneeze,
and you're gonna get sick. you are gonna get it.
You're gonna get kicked and sick.
Well, thank y'all for joining us today on Instagram Live. We had a record number of people logging in on YouTube.
Yeah,
like we had like 30 people at one point on our live, which was nice. Me? Yeah. And we had a good like 50 to 60 that were on Instagram Live at some point. So we did very well today. So thank you all for joining us and coming back. We are back. We are better than ever.
We are back, baby.
Hopefully you like the new intro.
I love it.
We are moving forward. We are doing good things. Oh, I have good news. I will tell you on the next episode. So in order to find out, get to the next episode. See you later.
Bye.
Bye.